Hey guys, welcome back to Lydia's Plate. This is my husband Mark, and the plan today is to get the garden in. We've done potatoes already, a few rows a few weeks back, and we did another row last Saturday. That would be May 4th. So today we want to get in all the stuff that just gets planted directly in, not the stuff that we've started inside.
We'll plant cucumbers and stuff like that, but I think those are ready to go in. I got the GoPro on my head, I'll take you along. Well, we got the tilling done. Now it's time to put our seeds in the dirt. You see we have stakes out there. Those are all supposed to be rows. I make the rows far enough apart so I can run the tiller down them. So this is how we plant our corn. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but she takes it right in between her two fingers and just pokes it in every 6 to 8 inches. It's a little closer than they do in the field, I think, but we're not growing field corn, it's sweet corn, and we're only growing 4 rows of it. This row right here beside is a row of potatoes. I believe these are the Viking variety from Canadian Tire. And our other 2 rows, which are over there on the other side of that pea fence, those are 2 different varieties, but they're planted with some sulfur dust. So we'll see what that does.
All right, so here's the garden tour. So this is a row of Viking potatoes. Then we have 2 rows of bodacious corn. Next we have strawberries. They're either the June or the everbearing or mixed variety. I tried to take runners out of my old row of where the biggest berries were because I know those are the Junes, but when you're grabbing runners, you're not grabbing when you're picking strawberries, so I had to guess from where I remembered the big ones being. Then we've got 2 different types of cherry trees out at the end there, Carmine Jewel and Juliet. And Saskatoon bushes, this is a big plum tree. The raspberries with I think some chives hidden in there. We're working on making like a sheltered area here for the plants that want a warmer, more sheltered climate. So things like the tomatoes, the peppers, that type of stuff. I know there was more. I'm thinking broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, that type of stuff will go in here. It's still inside. I don't think it's weathered enough to come out yet. Peas, I have kept my own pea seed for the last, I don't know how many years. And so now this year when I ordered seed, I ordered 3 packages and totally either underestimated or forgot how much seed was in the packages, or rather how little seed, because I only got 4 sections of fence planted out. So I'm gonna have to get more pea seed. Going without it is not really an option because almost every year, if not every year, we run out of peas from in the freezer. This year we're not out yet, but we have been eating a larger variety of vegetables. There were more that we stored over the winter this year. Beets, we'd never stored beets over the winter this year, so we had beets up until Christmas. In this space here next to the pea fence, right after it, to the north of it, we will be planting our sweet potatoes. I don't think they're ready to come out here yet either, so they're still waiting in the house. Last year when we picked up organic sweet potatoes to get our own slips from, those ones specifically said that they were organic and they were of the Beauregard variety. And it was our first year experimenting with them. That variety did very well here on the Canadian prairies for the amount of time that they had. I think we only got them planted in June, and by September we had fairly decent, like they were about that thick on average and your average length. But this year, when we happened to be in town and wanted to get started with it, there was no sign saying what kind of sweet potatoes they were, no sign saying organic, so then I'm going to assume they were not organic. So we're not sure what's going to happen this year. Hopefully we've started them early enough now. We started them, I believe, in February. So we'll see what happens, but they will cover a large area in here. And then next we have 2 more rows of regular potatoes. My husband and my oldest son planted these. So I'm not sure which row is which. I don't even know if they remember.
Norland is on the north.
Okay, so then this row is russet potatoes and this row is the Norland variety.
Sulfur dust coated.
They are sulfur dust coated, so we'll see how that works. We've heard good things about it from people and we're eager to find out for ourselves. These 2 rows are both more corn. Again, bodacious, that's the only variety that we've picked up. Here, starting at the far end there, you can see a little bit of green there amongst all the dirt. We have watermelon plants, And then across, just north of the watermelons, there's a clump. It looks like grass out there. That is the original spot of chives that we first planted. And in front of that, towards me, there's a Canadian red rhubarb. In the stakes between there, that first section of stakes, I did not plant anything to leave room for those watermelons to spread out. After that, from that stake to this stake closer, the third stake from me right now that you can see, in that section we have beets and then a little bit of spinach.
Radishes.
Radishes and then spinach, sorry, yes. So then this is our original row of strawberries. We originally had 2 rows. That's why the chives and rhubarb are out there, because that was the very original row, and then we had strawberries just spread out so much that we ended up tilling down the middle of that huge row and making 2 smaller rows. And then last year we tilled out 1 row, kept 1 row so that we could still harvest strawberries while the new row out there was getting established. And they're starting to come back and fill in. We heard last year that strawberries actually like to be stressed and abused a little bit, so we mowed them down, we've trampled on them, and they're coming back, so we'll see what happens. If I remember right, this is the row that had more of the June bearing berries. They were a nice good size, some of them even up to that big. Totally different from what you see in the store, and the taste doesn't even compare. We're always excited to get strawberries again, and they're so expensive out here as well to buy them in the store. And at the far end of the strawberries, on either end, like on either side of the strawberries, I planted carrots. So there's 1 stake at the end, but it's to show that on either side of the strawberries there are 2 rows of carrots there. Next, starting at the far stake out there, the tall one, we've got parsnips, green beans, yellow beans, spinach, dill. I believe that's it. After that, and then in the next row we've got our onions that we had started inside. We still have more onions inside yet. We have onions that for the last 3 years, I think, I've been experimenting and working on seeing if I could collect my own onion seed. So we started a whack load of onions in the house this winter, or this late winter, early spring. Yeah, so we started a bunch of those in, and they've actually come up nicer. They were planted after the onion seed that I ordered, and they're bigger than the onion seed that I ordered. So we'll see what's going to happen. I don't have high hopes because, as I said, I've been experimenting with this for about 3 years, and it hasn't worked out yet. So we'll see. And then there's also, you can see at that middle stake there between these 2 tall ones in front of us, you can see there's a bit of an onion. That was the volunteer one that was sitting kind of in the middle here. We've moved that over, and then from that stake right by that onion up until this next chopped off stake, those are from the seeds that I ordered, onion seeds. I believe those are the sweet Spanish. And then I also have red Zeppelin onions. I'm not sure where those got planted.
They're all mixed in there.
Okay, they're all mixed in there. All right.
Red
well,
Zeppelin and the Spanish.
We'll know as soon as they come up because they're very different onions. Here we've got a green rhubarb. And then these are, there's a zucchini here, right at this stake. There's a zucchini hill there. And then these next few are all cucumbers. We're trying something different this year. We've heard good results from other people, family members and so on, where they have planted. I've always tried to be frugal and save my garden space. My garden is already so huge. With that also being because we want to be able to till so that we're not trying to keep up with pulling weeds when we're busy. So I also felt very wasteful if I planted stuff and couldn't keep up with eating it. So I only ever planted 1 cucumber plant. But after hearing from other people how they would plant multiple plants, be able to harvest all their cucumbers within like a week or 2 weeks, pickle like crazy a couple of times and be done, my husband said, you know what, let's just do that, because then you're not pickling 5 jars every week for 6 weeks. Let's just get it all done in one shot. So we're gonna try that. Our cucumber plant last year also could not keep up with how much we were eating. We've got some kids who love cucumbers, one in particular, and we had an excess of zucchini last year, so kind of played a trick on my family and mixed. It's just a cucumber salad that is chopped up cucumbers and Miracle Whip. So I tricked them because I knew how badly the one guy liked cucumbers, and I chopped up zucchini, mixed them with the cucumbers, and then put the whip dressing over top, and nobody could tell the difference. If I made it straight from just zucchini, well then they could tell, because zucchini does have a different flavor from the cucumbers. But if I did like half and half, then nobody could tell, and they were saying how great the salad was again, and that it had been so long. So maybe we were just that desperate for cucumbers fresh out of the garden again. This is our big apple tree. And then next is a plum tree. That apple tree, I believe, is 7 or 8 years old. And the plums, I'm not sure. I don't think they're as old. I want to guess.
Half as old.
Yeah, I want to guess 3 or 4 years old.
Asparagus.
So then next, we have 2 plum trees here, and in between the 2 plum trees, we've got asparagus. We've never grown that before. Off the top of my head, I can only think of one person that I personally know of who grows asparagus and harvests it, and it's been years since I've talked to her about it, so I don't even know how accurate that is anymore. So we're gonna see. We are not all big asparagus eaters, but we are working very hard to introduce our kids, ourselves, to a wide variety of vegetables, foods in general, so that we are not raising picky eaters, that we have more variety in our diets, that we can have more things to cook and enjoy. So we'll see. The package said it's a 3-year project. You've got to have them planted for 3 years before you can start harvesting, so we'll find out. This is, at this stake here in this hill, we've got white ghost pumpkins, I believe they're called. Bought them last year just for fun. I don't believe in ghosts, but that's just the name of the pumpkin. White pumpkins just sounded like fun. And then here we've got the orange pumpkins. Pumpkins generally do well here. Last year they did not. So I don't know what happened, because we've always had bumper crops of pumpkins and we're begging people pretty much to take them, please. And last year we didn't get any, and I had to go beg somebody else for a couple. So yeah, hopefully our pumpkins will produce again this year. So here you can see again where we moved over the chives and a Canadian red rhubarb. And we'll take you around this way so that you can see that other patch, the original patch over there. Here you can see a better look of all the onions that we've transplanted from inside. So here, this big patch here, I'll have to get those dandelions out of there, but yeah, chives and the Canadian red rhubarb. So that's it. There's so much more we could tell you, but this is a garden video. So this is the garden, and we're looking forward to it. It's always so exciting to be able to eat fresh. If anybody catches it that we have not planted lettuce, that's on purpose. I planted lettuce for a couple of years and it did not matter. I would wash it 3-4 times myself and one of the kids. We would wash it, inspect it like crazy, wipe it down with a towel to dry it off, and somebody would still find a worm crawling in their salad. So we were so disgusted. We've never had that experience with spinach. Spinach doesn't get soggy like lettuce if you have leftover salad. So now we just plant spinach. They say it's healthier for you anyways. That's just our opinion and experience on that. Everybody else can do as they want. So that is our garden this year. We'll film the rest of it once the tomatoes and peppers and brassica family are all ready to go in. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, hit that bell for notifications if you want to see everything else that we're doing and keeping busy with. We look forward to seeing you again next time. See ya.